All right, here we go. It's time for another roundtable episode. And if this is your first time listening to a roundtable episode, keep your standards low. You'll have a good time. We basically, this is a Zoom meeting that anybody can join and get in here and answer some questions and have some chat. And the chat starts before while we start recording, and it continues sometimes long after the recording ends. So it's always a fun thing to be here and be on this thing. We have a lot of regulars here every week. So I'll just start with hello, Zoom people.
Good evening.
Hello. Hello.
You can be part of our weekly Zoom meeting. Just go to xjtalk.com/contact to find out how to join. So I probably should do this as a start on every roundtable episode we have. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up to the group or discuss or questions? I mean, Rick, I guess you could continue with yours if you wanted to, or anybody.
I think, well, actually, Glenn was talking about doing swap out on his front end, but I mean, I can talk about the amazing weekend I had at SMORR, but we can talk about something else.
Good. I commented to you on our Discord server, and if people out there don't know about our Discord, just go to xjtalkshow.com/contact, and you can join the Discord server. Discord server. I thought it was pretty funny in that video that you put up, and I heard I think it was the person running the camera go, "Some bitch," as you crawled up the rock there.
Yeah, that's Laura, and she's something else. She's but she.
That was perfect for Southern,
She's very vocal. We'll she's known for being very vocal, but yeah, she makes lots of background comments and noises and everything when she's recording. It's always funny when you get one of her recordings.
I bet she's fun in a theater. We were making the little comments that I like to make during the movie.
Well, I don't know. No, I had never went to the movies with her, so.
So were you having some problems getting the lockers engaged? Because I thought somebody said something about your wheel wasn't spinning or something.
No, I was trying to do it first without. I try to do as much as I can without engaging the lockers, because I'm trying to learn how to drive.
Yeah,
better and better every time I drive, and I look at every obstacle, every opportunity to learn something, to try something different, to do something new, and so. Yeah, I didn't have them engaged at first, but I ended up, it was really a steep slide sideways into that rock. And the name of that obstacle was called Rocker Knocker. And it is for a solid reason, is because you end up hard on your rockers. And I was slammed up hard on them, and I'm glad they're the Genrite steel lockers, or rocker arms, not rocket arms.
Rock sliders?
Rock sliders. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. But anyway, so yeah, and then she saw me. I'm learning with the. I use blood pressure bulbs to engage my my lockers, because I swapped those lockers those axles into my Jeep out of a Rubicon, and I'm hearing people talking. So anyway,
actually sounds like King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. I don't sound like King of the Hill.
What's in the background sounds like King of the Hill.
But so anyway, she saw me working that, and I'm struggling with that front locker. Sometimes it doesn't, and that's what I was talking about earlier when we were talking about the ring and pinion and swapping that out with Glenn. Is I kind of thinking my front air bladder or whatever it is in that locker is leaking a little bit, because it doesn't hold. And so I've been kind of playing with it when I do engage it, rather than before I would just pump it one pump and a half pump, and it would, and I could feel the resistance and I knew it was engaged. So now I'm just kind of pumping it real soft and just a couple times. Anyway, I'm playing with it. And so she saw me working that bulb, and saying, "What are you doing?" And and I said, "I'm engaging my lockers," and of course you can see in the video that my locker engages and my front wheel pulls me through the obstacle. So it was all good. But yeah, had a great weekend at SMORR for the 4th of July weekend. Wasn't too crowded. We didn't run into any issues like
That's
that.
interesting. I would have thought it'd been really busy for July 4th.
Well, I think most people are doing, other than us crazy Jeeper people, are doing
Hot dogs and barbecue and
hot dogs, barbecue.
beer.
They're,
Yeah.
families, they're going to the lake with their family and, all that stuff. I mean, there was some people there, but
Yeah. When I worked in the grocery world, 4th of July was the big lake weekend.
Yep. And did get to meet some really cool people. We met we had a couple from Kansas City that were there, and they didn't have anybody to go out on the park with, and so they rode along with. They just tagged along with us. Really good people, and had a couple from Chicago area, which I need to talk to Steve-O and Dan, get them connected. But brand new to Wheeling, this was their first weekend Wheeling, and they're kind of headed towards the overlanding thing. But John Paul and Julie, I believe, was their name, and great couple. And I think he's a teacher or something, and good, just really good people. You meet great people doing the Jeeping thing, and that's one of the things I love about it. That's one of the reasons I come on the show and participate in the roundtable, because good people. Mostly.
So with the modifications you've made recently to your TJ, well, I guess not recently, but over time, you're really happy with the changes you've made. I think you were saying that it made a significant difference in off-road capabilities. Yeah,
big shout out to Greg. The JL control arm swap is a huge success, man. That thing is just way more stable. It rides. It seems like it rides more on a suspension rather than on the end of those the
pogo sticks. I'll just say it.
Yeah,
more like pogo sticks. Yeah,
it always kind of felt like I was kind of stabbing down into everything,
right.
And I didn't realize it until this. I mean, I'm riding more on a suspension than I am on the end of those control arm, the little short control arms that the TJ's got.
Probably is the reason why you destroyed the factory ones. Come to think of it.
Well, and it's remember, it's not just the length of the control arm, it's also that you put them in the proper spot. You actually fixed all the geometry of the Jeep, and you didn't put them where they live on a JL. You actually changed it for your vehicle, but that makes a huge difference. Now, if you put some big, fat, nasty sway bars on that thing, you'll be able to drive it like a rally car too.
Huh. Yeah, right now, I currently don't even have my rear sway bar in, and it's been fine. I ain't even put it in yet. I mean, it's been driving. I got those Anti-Rocks in the front, and that's all I'm running right now. And I thought I wouldn't like it, but I haven't really noticed that much of a difference.
Yeah, so the rear is actually phenomenally important as far as ride quality goes. It doesn't affect you at all off-road, because the rear TJ sway bar, in fact, that's what the Anti-Rock originally was designed after. The Anti-Rock has the exact same spring rate as the factory TJ sway bar, the rear one. So put the factory rear sway bar back in, make your links in the right spot so that you get your stuff, and it'll be great. On the front, I had a man crush on the TerraFlex Street to Trail sway bar because it's bigger than a Dana 60 axle shaft. So on the road or anywhere that's not off-roading, you get so much sway control with a suspension like what you did. You really can drive it like a rally car. You can drift corners. You can drive it like it's a race car. And then to go off-road, you just turn a knob. Now, the downfall is TerraFlex discontinued it 2 years ago. So they no longer make it, and it's almost impossible to find. However, there's another company called ORO, which is off-road only, and they make essentially the same sway bar, just without the big knob. So TerraFlex had this big knob that you'd turn, and it pulled an inch-thick hardened steel pin out and then gave you free control. The ORO has like a little flapper lever, and you can make it, you can electronically actuate it, you can air actuate it, or you can just get out and flop it. In fact, it's on this Jeep over here, the Brute behind me. But it's also a very, very large, heavy-duty sway bar. And some people like it they have a dual rate, so they have a big sway bar with a little Anti-Rock size one in the middle, so that you get mild sway control and no sway control. I like just the single rate. I like the big, fat single rate, because I always run a rear sway bar. So as long as you got your rear sway bar, you still have some sway control when the front is utterly disconnected. But for on-road, cross-country, and even dirt road bombing where you go sideways around every corner pretending that you're the Dukes of Hazzard, that big sway bar, it's your fucking Huckleberry.
Okay. And what he's talking about as far as the geometry, what he instructed me to do and what I did is I pointed those control arms to the middle of the frame, where the exact middle between what my center of my wheelbase is now, which is 99. So right in the middle on my frame is where I pointed those control arms, the uppers and lowers. And I used a laser to do it, but it worked out, just working out great. Now the thing rides, and I keep joking that it rides like a 2-door Gladiator now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that's great. And the cool thing is that you did all the work yourself, which means you could do it again and you could fix it if it messes up. So I think that's really cool. It's a lot of effort though. All right, so let's talk about the future of wheeling. I don't know if you guys get the newsletter. I posted a story about one person that drove 20 plus hours out to Moab, Utah, and another person that didn't. She had a vehicle that was able to drive itself unsupervised. So the tow rig towed her Jeep on a trailer out to Moab, and she flew out there and met her vehicle and Jeep and took it wheeling. And then when she was done, she put it back on the trailer, told the truck to go home, and then she got back on a flight, saving many, many hours. And this is actually more critical for like Henderson, who I think is like 28 hours from Moab. And I was it hit me that there is some things a change, and it may be 5 years or so before we talk about this kind of opportunity to use self-driving vehicles. But I was thinking it doesn't change the off-roading. I mean, it can, but you could still go off-road, but you don't have to spend all that time traveling across country. Now, road trips can be fun, but sometimes it just doesn't fit into your schedule. So I'm just kind of curious, and I think I've explained this properly. If not, just let me know, and I'll explain it further. Let's start with Steve O. Steve, if you had the ability to go wheel in at EJS or just at Moab or any distant location, and you had the ability to send your tow rig and Jeep ahead, or you fly out there and it meets you there, what would that mean to you?
Muted.
No,
it means I wouldn't have to wait for Rick and Dan to keep up with me on the road trip.
Would that take away from the trip though? Not being on the road trip, not caravanning with a group of Jeeps?
No, I'm a driver. I love driving cross country anytime I can. I enjoy it thoroughly. To me, it's part of the experience.
So what if the vehicle that you were driving had full self unsupervised driving, and now you don't have to stop at a motel? All you have to do is stop to pee, get some food, and fill up fuel, whether it's charging the vehicle or putting gas in the tank.
You know, I say now that I wouldn't do it, but you know, by that time I'm probably going to be the point where I'm
Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska would definitely be a plus there, or Kansas.
Oh, the boring places.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But no, it's coming. Whether we agree to it or not, the question is how soon. But to me, part of the going cross country is the journey. I don't think I would ever fly.
I'm cheap because airplane tickets are expensive, and if your vehicle is driving itself across country, you might as well ride along, tilt the seat back, and mess around on TikTok, and you could record some images and stuff for for your channel, your personality, your online personality, and be posting along the way.
Let's face it, Luke. Especially when you're towing. Greg had some issues going to EJS this year. Something about some axles on trailers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shit breaks. You're going to get there and your shit don't show up because now you got to go chase it down.
No, the tow rig doesn't stop. It just has sparks flying behind the thing.
Yeah, that's the question, right? Flat tires happen, breakdowns happen, and now you got to go figure out what to do next.
That's an interesting thing. And as far as full self-driving, that is active now in Austin. They are running robotaxis. They've been running robotaxis since June 22nd, doing rides in Austin for $4.20. And the vehicle is completely full self-driving. It has no human intervention.
Think about this too. Somebody could literally slow down in front of your vehicle to get it to stop, right? Because it's going to do that, and then steal your shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, or your tow rig shows up and there's no Jeep on the trailer.
Yeah, there's no trailer.
You buy a dummy and you sit it in the driver's seat. Or you
Yeah.
Well, how about you, Dan? Would you go the full self-driving tow rig, unattended tow rig? Would you trust it to get from point A to point B?
Maybe if it was proven technology, but it'd have to be, as you mentioned, it'd have to be cost effective. To be able to pay for your vehicle to get towed back and forth and for your airfare. I don't mind the driving that much.
I'm cheap. I would get in the seat and just I'd be in the driver's seat. And
hey, that's why we camp.
And just cheap out and sleep in the vehicle.
Yep.
I mean, I love the idea. I mean, what man hasn't said we're making great time now, and then the kids or the wife wants to pull over to pee?
Right.
And you're killing me.
Happens to me all the time.
Men can you can pee along the way, and it's great if you get into a road rage situation. You've got ammo.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Rick. What about you? Would you trust all the time and effort you put into your TJ build? Would you put it on a trailer and a tow rig and send it on its way?
I'm kind of like Steve-O. I enjoy the trip just as much. I mean, I'm thinking about all the scenery that there in Colorado, driving through those mountain passes in Colorado that you miss out on. And
we can take pictures for you.
Yeah, it's not the same. Not the same thing. Pictures never do it justice. And even driving through Kansas, and maybe it's just because I was in southern Kansas. It was rolling hills. It wasn't exactly exciting, but it really wasn't that bad. I didn't mind it too bad. And I enjoyed the trip. Even when Steve-O does hit the turbo button and take off like a bat out of hell on the off ramp.
Well, I just thought about this. What if it was maybe you're driving, and then you get sleepy, so you either have to pull over and camp or check into a hotel or something. What if you could just say, okay, now you drive and you take your 2-hour nap? I think that would be real convenient just by itself.
Yeah, that could be convenient. Or you could actually, have another person that you swap driving with,
Oh, you mean the person that always falls asleep when they're supposed to be talking to you to keep you interested, and they're over there snoring? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's always that.
I just think it's interesting how, and this technology isn't 20 years from now. It's now. And I think it's going to get more pervasive in the very near future. And I don't, and I've mentioned this before, there's no reason why the full self-driving that Tesla is currently using can't be adapted to other vehicle manufacturers. There's no reason why you can't hook this up to a vehicle with an internal combustion engine. You just have to have all the controls, the steering, the braking, all that stuff. I mean, the Gladiator right now the braking can be controlled by the computer, and not the steering. So you need a drive-by-wire system and some cameras. That's all you need. I think that the total cost for the Tesla driving system is around $2,000. It's like a fancy stereo system, and it's all local. It doesn't require anything to be sent to the internet to figure out what's going on. So, and I mean, if it winds up being 10 times more safe than a human driver, my gosh, it would be just really, it would allow all of us to be like multimillionaires, where we had people that we hired that took care of things like this for us. We'd all be like Tony over at GenRight. He have his people take care of it. Hope he hears this. So I'm just saying the technology's coming, and it really is going to be amazing, at least the way I see it. And one of the things that has been brought up is how do you refuel the vehicle? Well, Tesla's making a robot. Actually, there's several companies making robots, and the robot could actually do the filling up or the plugging in of the charger. All right, let's, John, would you take a full self-driving tow rig? Maybe if it was an actual truck, like a Ford pickup or something, to tow your vehicle. Would you ride in the vehicle? Would you send it on its way? What would you do? Or just stay with it the way it is, the way God intended it to be? All right. No, John, how about you, Kevin?
Oops, sorry.
There he is.
I was on mute.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we're getting there because I've used Waymos before, and I think they're safer than getting, taken like an Uber or a Lyft. I think we're probably only a couple of years off from that. Might be interesting, but like several of the folks said, there's the enjoyment of just taking the road trip and doing that part of it. So I think, it's kind of a toss-up. Maybe it would depend upon maybe time. If I was for a time crunch or something was going on where I needed to be there and I had a way to ship it. And I think to your point, going back to like the technology itself, you wouldn't need a robot. You'd have a charging station where the vehicle would just drive over it and sit over the top and charge.
Inductive charging.
And just charge it that way.
Yeah, Tesla bought a German company not too long ago. And I suspect it's exactly for that purpose, for the robotaxis. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I suspect what will happen is it's going to be a mixture. You're going to have some people that say, I'm not doing that shit. That's not American. I'm a man. I'll take care of this stuff myself. And then there's going to be people that go full bore and do everything automatic. I just hope it doesn't get to the point where it's automatically going wheeling for you and checking in and getting badges, for the different places that your Jeep has gone wheeling. But I suspect it'll be a mixture of things. And it would be difficult just to send your $100,000 tow rig and your $60,000 Jeep or more off on a trip. And, you can check on it. Sure, there's the internet so that you can keep on checking on it. But what happens if if you're not checking on it whenever the wheel goes flat or there's an accident or whatever? So yeah, it'll be interesting from the law perspective of how these states handle autonomous vehicles.
Or a flash flood.
Yep. It probably would pull over, but I don't know if it would be good enough to get out of the way as the water rose or not. I'm looking forward to this for Roger because Roger spends a lot of time in his tractor trailer, and he'll be able just to sit at home and figure out where his 5 or 6 he'll have a company where he's having all these vehicles taking loads all over the place, and they'll be charging him to unload the trucks, and he won't care.
Yeah, I'll do it myself. I'll drive my own truck, thanks.
All right. Well, I'm really interested in seeing what happens in about 5 or 10 years. Kevin, what about you? Full self-driving for your tow rig and Jeep or not? And that's the other thing. It's always a possibility that the full self-driving could be retrofitted to your vehicle. So you actually might be able to have a full self-driving Jeep, and instead of it being towed someplace, it would actually drive itself to wherever you were going to, wherever you wanted to end up.
I would say for me, it would probably depend on where I'm going and how many days of travel is it for me. I like road trips, but I'm only good for about 10 hours a day. After that, I'm ready to get out, stretch my legs, and I'm kind of done being in the car. So like for me to if I wanted to go to the Rubicon, that's a 3-day drive for me.
Right.
So in that case, I would probably consider, putting it on the trailer and saying, as long as all the bugs part of it are worked out, like if it gets a flat tire, like you can just say, go to this tire shop and get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably consider it because I could take 2 days and still be, with my family or working or whatever, and then fly up there and then do like the Rubicon myself for a few days, put it back on the trailer and fly home. And for me, that works.
Yeah, you're getting to do the thing that you wanted to do
right.
without the 3 days of getting there and the 3 days of getting back. That's kind of my point.
Yeah, especially when you have like limited constraints on how much time you have off.
Exactly.
That's where I would consider it. If it was like like I said, I'm good for about 10 hours. If it's less than 10 hours, I would just drive it myself.
Yeah. So we all know that Henderson's always busy building and redoing things at his shop. So whenever he goes to EJS, which as far as I know, he's gone every year for many years, you got to take several days off, don't you, Greg? And wouldn't it be nice if you could just go fly in like a rock star, make your appearance, and then head back home and get back to work?
Well, there's only a couple problems with that. Is one, I can't afford a $200,000 tow rig that would be capable of that. Now, as far as the self-driving or the autonomous, if I could ride in it and you could still do manual control, I'd probably do it.
Yeah, I like that aspect.
Because then I could. So, like right now, when I leave here, I'm in Michigan. I leave Michigan, I go to Moab, usually somewhere between 2 and 4 times a year. And it's, a 26 to 28 hour drive, and I don't stop, right? I leave here and I end up there, and then I take a nap. It would be wonderful to be able to take that nap. Same thing going to, Vegas for SEMA. It's one way. I drive until I get there. I enjoy the week. It's always the drive home that kills me, because you have the endorphins and you have, the excitement that you're going to Moab or you're going to SEMA or you're going wherever. You have all that excitement. So you get there, then you work all week, right? So from 7 a.m. until midnight, every single day, you're killing it, sometimes later. The drive home is just, it gets me every time, because...
Or you're worn out. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'll make it 12 to 14 hours, and then I have to pull over in a rest stop and sleep for 2 hours. And then I make it another 4 to 6 hours of driving, and then I have to sleep for 2 hours. Right? It's miserable. So I would love the autonomy of that. I can't wait until we're ready for it. And I don't like modern technology, but I can't wait until the technology is good enough to be able to do it. Because I've driven some modern trucks, like a 2024 Ford, just with the lane assist, and I want to kill the truck. I literally want to pull the 45 out and shoot it dead because it fights you, right? Which adds to the stress level of driving and towing a load. So once it's fully ready and fully available, I'll embrace it. But as of right now, I'm not ready, and I surely can't afford it, right? I'm building somebody else's semi because I can't afford one. So, but yeah,
you're open to the idea, and that's really what I'm talking about here, is that there's technology coming, and if people are open to the idea, I think from the convenience side of it, even if you didn't use it except for your ride home and those 2 or 4 hours that you were taking a nap, you didn't actually have to stop traveling. To me, that's amazing.
Oh yeah, no, that's a game changer, and I'm not opposed to the idea once the technology is there. It's just like the electric cars. Hey, they're fun. I mean, they're really fun. You drive some of the new Teslas or some of the other things. They're a blast to drive. They just don't have the range. They can't get me where I need to go in a timely manner.
Right.
So once the battery technology catches up, yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, Musk is doing amazing things with that company. So I'm sure that it's coming. The retrofit, though, I think, like you made a comment earlier that it's only $2,000 to put all that autonomous stuff. The most autonomous thing is the AI computer, which he owns, and I don't think he'll ever sell that computer for $2,000 to anybody else. So somebody else is going to have to come up with their own AI system, and you can buy normal radios today that are $3,500. I think if it's an autonomous retrofit in today's world, it's going to be $20,000, and that's before it's installed.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's either going to be,
if you're looking at an older car.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. It may still be $2,000, but there'll be a license, because even if you buy a Tesla, you get full self-driving. You're paying for the full self-driving. It's a subscription thing. So
right.
Yeah. So
and on the electric part of it, like even your hardest like internal combustion person, you throw them the keys to an electric golf cart, they're going to have a ball.
Oh yes, the torque and
like as stupid as it is and as slow as they are, a golf cart's one of the funnest things in the world to drive. But so the electric part of it's not the big deal. It's just being confident in all of the AI part of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody mentioned Waymo. Waymo is using LiDAR, which is makes their I think it makes their autonomous system upwards of $100,000. So they buy a vehicle and they throw $100,000 worth of equipment on it, and it has to have detailed GPS information and a very limited area. But the way Tesla is doing it, it uses cameras and makes decisions based on all the training that's been done by video from humans driving. I think that was one of the reasons why they were having problems with it there for a while, where it wouldn't come to a complete stop at a stop sign. Because people don't generally do that. So I just thought it was hilarious that, I always come to a stop. Well, I say I do. In my mind, I come to a stop, but maybe not. All right, let's go over to Travis. Travis, if you could have a robot dog that when it flew out the passenger window, you wouldn't have to worry about it, would you do that?
In a heartbeat. give me a little robot dog, I'd be set. I've been in, I had an Airbnb guest that had the self-driving Tesla, and I 100% wish I would have bought that car from him, because it was prior to the subscription model where he had it, it was just set and good. I rode around in that thing and I was impressed with it. I purchased the Jeep I have now because it had adaptive cruise. I don't have to worry about my gas and foot and brake, and I've adapted to the thumb controls. I'm still controlling it and quick to put on my brake, but I don't care for driving much anymore. So, and I'm terrible at night. I don't have the vision. Get me something that's going to get me to and from it. I'm 100% on board.
And this is so cool, especially for people that are getting older, or maybe you have not necessarily a disease, but have things that are changing in your body that make it difficult for you to do these things. It's still going to allow us to go out and enjoy the hobby instead of sitting at home because I just can't make that drive and I can't afford to have somebody drive me. Right. And this is kind of my point to this. This is going to be amazing. I'm always amazed at, I forget Dell's last name, the guy that would do a lot of off-road stuff, him and his wife, Stacy. He writes for magazines and things. He was in, I think he's in, mid-70s or something. Greg, I'm sure you know him. But he's off doing all this stuff.
Dell Albright?
Yes, Albright. Thank you. And Dell's an old timer, and boy, he's out there hitting the trails and stuff. It's just really, really cool. And this would allow Dell to not have to, have to drive the Jeep these long distances. He could have it help him. And after all, that's what the Jeeps do for us anyway. It helps us do things that we enjoy.
Right. Yeah, but you could also, with the cost of that vehicle, you could also pay a guy like me to drive your vehicle to Moab a lot of times.
Well, I don't think the cost of the vehicle is I don't think it's really going to cost that much. Like I said, we'll see what happens, but it may be a subscription for the full self-driving, but the hardware isn't very expensive. If you remember the GPS systems that you used to get to put in your vehicle, it's going to be on the order of that, $1,500, $2,000. I maintain that. The profit is going to be in the subscription.
Now, remember when GPS first came out, like the ones that you blew on your dashboard?
The big honkers, yeah.
Yeah, and those were, I bought one, I want to say it was 2005. It was $3,500. Now, today it comes free on your phone, but I think that we're going to see the same thing. So when those first came out, they were $3,000, $4,000 for the thing that's stuck on your phone and plugged into your cigarette lighter. Within 4 years, they were $300.
Yep.
So I think, this autonomous kit stuff, if it ever comes out, it's going to come out really high, and you're going to have to wait 2 or 3 years before any normal person can even think of affording it.
No, I don't doubt that you're right. Unless Tesla decides they want to do it. I get the feeling that Musk is going to hold it back, especially how distasteful to use this technology with a nasty old internal combustion engine. But people need to understand there's no reason why the full self-driving can't be used for any vehicle. And actually, I've heard that people are talking about that this is going to be the notable difference in the future, especially like when you're watching movies and you say, oh, look at that. Those people are driving their own vehicles, whether it's a golf cart, a Segway, anything. It's all going to be full self-driving and autonomous. And it's going to be a very interesting future.
Well, and if you're somebody that already buys a tow rig, every handful of years, and you eventually move up into a tow rig that has it, you're probably used to having to pay X amount of more every,
Right.
5 years, whatever you're paying. So if it's something that just gets added on, it's just a feature that's there. And it's a tow rig that you're probably buying anyway.
Right. God, I wish I had that kind of money. I wish I had a place to park it. It'd be fun to have a tow rig.
I mean, if you got rid of the XJ that doesn't run.
Oh, it runs. It just doesn't get driven. All right.
That's the worst thing to ever do to an XJ or any vehicle is to not let it be driven. So, Roger, you go to Tony's, pick up that XJ, bring it here, and I'll drive it all the time.
When I get the full self-driving attached to it, I'll send it up there for some modifications. I don't trust Roger. He's looking for paybacks for his rig being trashed in a towing accident. All right, so let's see, Steve-O. Oh yeah, Roger. I think you've already answered. So are you a no? I'm sure you're a no to the because I always tease you about the self-driving tractor trailer combinations. But what would you think about having your Jeep if it could be retrofitted with self-driving? Would you do that? Would you let it drive itself? Would you maybe just let it drive whenever you're sleepy?
Probably not.
Row.
Always the timing.
Roger.
We'll come back to you in a minute, Roger. How about you, Jacob? What do you think about the full self-driving conundrum? Would you buy into that? Would you use that if it was available?
I'm just getting a kick out of the technology failing Roger when he starts talking about using technology to take care of.
So the question I want to know is, he puts it in his wife's Jeep. Would he be able to talk the Jeep through each obstacle?
With the full self-driving, turn the radio down.
This is awesome. You get to tell me where to go and what to do with myself because his phone's dead.
Yeah. Go ahead, Glenn.
No, I can hear you just fine.
It's better when you can't answer. You can just hear. Go ahead, Glenn.
Oh, I'm just choosing not to respond.
So, with the advent of everything becoming self-driving, what kind of changes are they going to make to vehicles? Besides for, say, is now your driver's seat going to lay completely flat, and they're going to say they're going to make it as comfortable as sleeping in a bed at your home so you can ride in comfort while it drives you to where you're going?
Oh man, if it can cook bacon, I might marry it.
Well, I mean, it would make sense for like one of the 18-wheelers with the sleepers on the back of it. Fine, that'd be perfect. Crawl in the back, go to sleep. But like for a passenger car, most driver's side seats do not fold all the way back, and then when they do, they're still not very comfortable. So,
right,
are the manufacturers going to start taking that into account, saying, "Hey, we got a car that can drive you from New York to LA, and you never have to touch it. But if you want to ride along, then crawl in the back or sleep, or
I just had a horrible thought that there's going to be influencers putting a stirrup on the hood and riding them like a surfboard while they're while they're doing a live video. There's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Exactly.
Think about this: the self-driving Winnebago, right? You could be cooking while it's moving.
Yeah.
That's scary as hell. But I never experienced it myself. But I remember movies and hearing people talk about it. Horses. You used to be able to get on a horse. The horse knew where you lived. And, you go into town, maybe you got drunk and you get on the horse and the horse takes you back to the house. And self-driving has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, with the RV thing, somebody's going to try to fry something at some point and the RV is going to get cut off and hard break. And that's when the lawsuit's going to come.
Well, speaking of lawsuits, the legal aspects of it, I can, if you guys remember iRobot, I remember that scene where Will Smith is going to take over the control of the car that's driving at 300 miles an hour, autonomous control. And his passenger is like, you're taking manual control. Are you crazy? Can you imagine what insurance would be like if the machine was always doing the driving? I mean, I could see that you could have different insurance rates depending on how much you drove it manually and how much you let the car drive itself. If it's 10 times safer than a person, insurance rates could drop drastically.
I think it would be a lot like where you have the plug-ins now with certain insurance companies.
Right.
I think it would become automatic that you had to have some sort of upload, and they would measure how often you're driving manually versus automatic, and you would end up getting charged off of that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there may be a financial reason why you let the vehicle drive itself in the future. So there's a lot of things, and it's fun to think about it. It probably will not work out the way I'm thinking about it, but
what if you're somebody like Roger's cousin who's had 15 drunk drivings and is no longer eligible for a license? Can they sit in an autonomous vehicle and get a ride to work?
I bet they can.
I have a cousin.
I don't know. I was just throwing something out there.
He's from Wisconsin.
I thought he was talking about you, Roger. I thought he was just being polite.
His cousin is his sister.
Dude.
Oh.
Only if you're from Arkansas.
So,
Arkansas, where every day is Cousin's Day. Go ahead.
So, I lost my train of thought now. Never mind.
made you think about your cousin. I see what happened.
Crap. I hate it when that happens.
That's getting old.
I'll think about it in a minute.
Yeah. If you had full self-driving, you'd have time to think about what you forgot.
No. Yeah, here we go. So, can you sit in an autonomous vehicle and it does the exact speed limit and you not be freaked out because you don't want to do the exact speed limit, you want to do 5 over?
I think you're going to be able to adjust the aggressive or gentle nature of the vehicle. I think you can do that now, actually.
I think I'd be asleep.
Not if they're all autonomous, because if they're all autonomous, they're going to all fit in that grid pattern and they're just going to jump right in behind each other. I mean, doing maybe the speed limit.
I think that's coming where they communicate with one another, and especially drafting. You could actually get into a situation where vehicles draft and get better fuel or electric economy because they're in an airstream.
Yeah. I think at a certain point you'll see it kind of like iRobot, where they'll end up being faster. We're probably years out from that, but at a certain point it will become they're good enough that instead of a 65 mile an hour speed limit, they're doing 120, 150, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Well, at that point, absolutely. Are they flying? Are they flying at that point?
Look, they're not on the ground.
Hard
before I graduated high school, and that shit still happened. So,
I still want the Johnny cab in the front.
Yeah,
that
facial things was amazing for that.
Talk about autonomous vehicles. I mean, at what point is it going to go from an autonomous vehicle to just flying everywhere you go?
I think it's going to be traveling like this because when you fly places, especially with the TSA, you have to stand. You got to be there an hour ahead of time. You got to go be
no. I'm talking about like personal. Like they're like they have every year at the air show.
I think that if we get enough power, then yes, that makes sense. But I think for the money, it's going to be simpler to travel on the ground and safer to travel on the ground.
I think when you add the 4th dimension into it with flying, or 3rd dimension, however you want to call it, it's going to get a lot more complicated. And that's why they will stick to ground for.
I don't think so. I think there's,
time frame.
It's much more safe. It's much safer to fly somewhere than it is to drive somewhere.
Yeah, but there's a lot less planes in the air than there are cars on the highway.
Right. Yeah, I think that it'll be at least two-tier system where there's a lot of ground traffic, a lot more ground traffic, especially for flights that are close by, like say within 4 hours, because you get around the 4-hour mark, you could just jump in a vehicle or a robo-taxi and have it take you those 4 hours. Or you could spend the time packing and going to the airport and working through the TSA and getting on the plane, getting off the plane. It'd just be, to me, I'd rather just spend it might be a 1 hour flight, but it winds up being 4 hours of your time. So what's better, to get picked up at your house and taken to where you need to go, or do the flight and then make sure somebody picks you up at the airport, so on and so forth? No, I'll just get in the taxi. Thank you. But the second tier system would be flying places that are further than 4 hours away. 8 hours, 10 hours, or across the world.
That's already how, like, my wife and I plan our trips. At somewhere around the 10 to 12 hour mark, flying or driving becomes a wash on time,
Right.
depending on how far you're going. And so we'll look at it and go, which one is going to be worse? Sitting in a car with two kids for 10, 12 hours, or at least in an airport for a couple hours, they can still move around and they only have to be in a plane for, 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, and you can sit in the bar and have a couple of cocktails while you're waiting.
You can. It's just for us, it's the kids part. Like, because with the car, you can stop and you can let them out to run around, but that just adds more time to your travel. Versus with the plane, you shorten the amount of time where they have to be still.
Right.
So for families, I see like that's where that's a big deal with kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, the cool thing is that we're going to have choices, and more choices is more better. All right, so it's been a lot of time talking about this. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you guys for indulging me on this, because I like thinking about the future and what it may hold. But let's do this other one that I think it was Andrew that came up with this idea, and we got to spend a little time on this. And I find it curious too. I've seen it done. I've never done it myself. Tire stacking, and when I say tire stacking, I mean when one Jeep uses the tire of another Jeep, usually the front tire.
Stop doing it. Stop doing ducks and stop doing it.
Yeah, and they roll up on that tire, and to me, it makes me nervous from the standpoint of damage to the vehicle that's being mounted. So, what do you guys think, Kevin? Are you a tire stacker? Do you roll your tire up on another person's Jeep so that you can look cool, get a little flex?
I've never done it, but I also don't do the social gathering stuff. So
yeah.
That's not a thing for me. Now, if I'm out at the park and one of my friends rolls up and pulls up on my tire, I'm not really going to get mad about it, but it's not my thing. But again, with that, it's going to be one of my friends that does it. It's not going to be some random that is out at margarita night that's having also a Jeep need and
right.
kind of.
How about you, Travis? You seem to be the party type person that would be willing to mount a tire.
I've done it multiple times.
There we go.
And have had it done multiple times. I mean, triple, double.
Aren't you the one that says you can't see anymore?
Yeah, I can't see. That's not seeing. That's wheeling. That's off road. You can clearly see, or you've got a spotter, depending on if you're driver's side or passenger side, what you're going up on, or I've not done it when you're going up on both. Yeah, I've done it. That I'll do over ducks. Ducks I don't care for. It all about the event that it's at, the situation, the reason. Just to randomly do it in a parking lot, no. If there's an event, there's a cause for it, then yes, do it. There's a lot of kids around. They love it. And I'm not going to give a kid, if I've got a duck, obviously if I get them, I'll give them to kids left and right. But it's a show aspect. And also there's a lot of times where new Jeepers, you teach them stuff, you show them things, and they don't realize what these vehicles are capable of doing. And
right.
Unfortunately at a mall, this is one opportunity to show them what they're capable of doing. So on that aspect, I like it. Is it done 24/7? No. Is it done? Yes.
Have you ever had any damage? It's so strange that Travis's video isn't showing up. Have you ever done any damage or had any damage done to your Jeep through tire stacking, Travis?
No, never. I've actually never had any issues on the stacking. I have one girl went up on my YJ and went up on the fender, but I had Wizard Works off-road fenders on the YJ, and those damn things are solid, and it did not affect them do anything. And I wanted to have her redo it just so I could get photos and videos of it years ago when I had those installed, and I didn't let her do it again, but I've honestly wanted to purposely do that at the house with my Jeeps just to show off his quality product.
Yeah,
and
great advertising.
Yeah, because it zero damage from doing that.
How about you, Dan? Did you have you done any tire stacking?
Not me personally, but we were just at a local cruise night last week and had, probably it's one of the more popular ones, about 30 Jeeps out there. And a couple of guys did stack, and it used to be a normal thing. And we'd be out there and you'd have 7 Jeeps stacked on each other all, through the show. And it kind of stuck out at me because it's kind of been a while since I've seen anybody doing it, but just the amount of attention it brings in that you just, I said, and I actually commented, I said, you don't see as much as you used to, but, here these guys, stacked, and it was an absolute crowd pleaser.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's not something you see every day. I'm sorry, there was somebody trying to talk right before we went to Glenn. Who was that? Was that you, Rick?
That was me.
Okay.
I was saying, so I don't do like the big social things, but like one of the big shops down here, Tribe 16, that does like Ultra 4 stuff and stuff like that. Like I'll see them at LS Fest. They bring stands that are made out of steel. Yeah. So if you're at a show, like one of those stands, don't get me wrong, it's big and it's heavy, but you could still fit it in the back of like a JK or, if you have a TJ that doesn't have back seats, it'll still fit back there. You can use that.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of guys now that bring stands with them.
Yeah.
Usually they're a little more on the showy side.
No, these aren't RTI ramps. They're stands. Like they will literally, they're steel stands that they have weights in the bottom of.
Yep. And they'll drive up on it.
Up. So.
Well, when you're wheeling, when your place to go wheeling is the mall parking lot, I guess stacking is probably the best way to flex.
Have you done the tire stacking, Roger?
Hell no.
They have these just for the shows they go to. Like Tribe 16 does Ultra 4.
Oh, I can understand.
They just bring it out to show it for one of shows.
Do they drive up on it, or do they use like a high lift or something to jack it up?
They drive up on it.
Okay.
So they'll put a couple of 100 pounds of weight in the bottom of it, and it's still tapered, and it'll be 3 foot by 3 foot or so at the bottom. And they just, by the time they put the weight in it and crawl up it, it'll stay there.
Well, the teams I've seen that use those, they'll actually have a Jeep in front of it, with the wheel turned out, and they'll drive up on that tire onto the stand, and then that Jeep backs out from behind them. Or you can understand they're there with the wheel kicked out. The stand's in front of them. They drive up over that. It's a large tire as well. Because I've never seen anyone drive up on the stands because they're straight up. They're very narrow, and they allow to see full articulation for a lot of the shows. All of your show Jeeps or companies that sell suspension, they're going to have those products there because it really truly shows the articulation of the Jeep at a show.
So let me jump over to Andrew, because Andrew, I believe you posted something up on our Discord server about a lady that was injured or killed through tire stacking. Could you tell us about that, if I'm remembering that correctly?
Yeah, it happened last Saturday, this just passed. People went to a car show, and one guy who's newer to Jeep decided to stack on another Jeep. And in the process, his Jeep revved up and jumped forward. The guy had his foot on the brake and couldn't stop the Jeep and ran over the lady. She is fine. No internal injuries or broken bones, just a lot of road rash. And that's what brought up the question, was like, what could cause that? How safe is it?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's safe at all. But which vehicle was it had the brake on? Was the one being mounted or the one mounting?
The one mounting.
Okay.
He was pulled up. He was dead center of the tire. The guy that was instructing him said, hey, put pressure on the brake, put it in park. And as the guy went to go do that, the Jeep just revved really high up and jumped forward.
Yeah. Well, you got to press the brake and not the accelerator.
That's pedal.
Well, everyone said they saw his brake lights on. Because I wasn't there. I came to help the person tow the Jeep to a dealership to have the Jeep looked at. But everyone that was at the show said, no, his foot was on the brake. We saw the brake lights.
Well, you can put your foot on the brake and the gas pedal at the same time. I've done it several times off-road on the Gladiator and was asking myself, well, where the hell is this thing going? I pressed harder and it went faster. So, yeah, I mean, that's happened to me, and I don't have particularly huge feet, size 11. So I suspect that's what happened in that case. He was pressing both pedals at the same time. I'd actually been nervous about what was going on.
Well, and especially if he had it in 4 low, the gearing,
Oh, yes.
plus just a little bit of throttle, will push through those brakes.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were doing that at the event I was at this weekend. There, when I first got there, there was 4 or 5 Jeeps stacked up like that. But I mean, when you're doing, especially you're in the process of doing that, you'd want to keep people away from you. I mean, I think you'd want to keep people away from it anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
just just in case. I mean, no different than climbing up on a rock or anything. Hey, stay back.
Man, there's some people that stand there, the gawkers, while you're off road, that just make me nervous because they are not in good positions. I mean, especially if you're on rock that slides, where the Jeep can slide, you could come at them a lot quicker than they can move. So, not your intention.
I was thinking the same thing. It's like you have the area that you want to be away from when you're winching somebody in case something breaks. So I guess they're just figuring, I'm just driving up on somebody's tire and not thinking safety. It's like, where was she located that she got ran over? Was she trying to video it up close?
Yes, she was trying to video it. As what I've heard, she was about maybe 5 to 8 feet away from the Jeep at that time.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad she made it okay and learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so we're not going to get to our third question. Not unusual. We usually have some really good conversations on the on 1 or 2 questions, but I thought I'd mention it. The third question was best tire diameter diff gearing locker for a JLJT. And fortunately, we answered this. Greg from Platinum Differential and I answered this in Tuesday's flagship episode, where we talked about this the entire show. This is a common thing. People get a Jeep and they go, okay, I want to put big tires on it. Okay, I got big tires on it. Why does it suck? And it's like, well, you need to change the differential gearing. And does it have lockers? Well, it's a good time to put lockers in if you're going to change the diff gearing. So we went through the whole shooting match. Fortunately, we did it for the 2021 Jeep Talk Show Gladiator. So, but that should apply to JLs as well. So have a listen to that episode. It's a Tuesday episode. Just go and listen to it. You should listen to all the episodes. No telling what you might learn or get a chuckle from. All right, everyone, that's a wrap for this week's Jeep Talk Show Roundtable. A big thank you to all of our Zoom participants. You guys make this so much fun and informative every week. And of course, shout out to everyone that watches this episode. And you can be part of this episode just by, or these roundtable episodes, just by going to our newsletter and subscribing so that you get informed when the Zoom meetings are going to occur. Zoom is free. You can join the meeting. We can support up to 100 people at a time here. So don't think you're going to be able to, that you won't be able to get in, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, join us next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Time for more Jeep Talk, random questions, and always a few rabbit trails. Don't forget to visit xjtalk.com/contact to find out how you can be part of the conversation. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Broadcasting since 2010.
You're my friend. You're my new friend.